Bentley from the first series of Channel 4's The Circle, who says it's not good for children's mental health. So why do you think that, Fred?
Firstly, I want to start off by saying that I find it very, obviously it was a hard situation in World War II, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm being disrespectful in that way whatsoever. However, I will stand by the point that I don't think it's as educational in the way that there's so many problems going on in the world at the moment, like Brexit, that's not taught in schools, and climate change, which is a situation that I feel like we should be aware of. And, when I left school, I felt like it hit me like a ton of bricks, because I didn't know anything in general life. I felt like I was going out to the world. I've completed my GCSEs. I felt like I knew that what I was doing in life. Then all of a sudden, it hit me because I didn't know how to save for a mortgage. So I feel like instead of, focusing so much on our history and holding on to this past, that we can let it go a little bit. I'm not saying get rid of it totally, but let go of it a little bit and replace it with a subject that is going to be beneficial to us in the future. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Does World War II offend you? Cue the music. What's going on, everyone? This is Dominic Dominator with the Veterans Den channel, bringing you a quick reaction force video, QRF. I'm going straight into it. This is my opinion, not just kind of bringing things to reality for this guy. So this guy, Freddie Bentley, over here in England on the Good Morning Britain show, the equivalent of Good Morning America, the Today Show, went on there and said some stuff about how there's other things that we should be talking about and not talking about World War II, which might be bad for children with mental health. So let me give background. I have mental health issues. I have PTSD, along with the whole list of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, all that other good stuff, and stuff in the past that I dealt with that I currently go see a therapist for, just like many other combat veterans who are on the front lines, dropping, stacking bodies, and all that other good stuff. So when it comes to mental health, I think I'm very good, along with my peer support specialist training background and a bunch of other things that I've done with countless hours under my belt. So yes, I can really talk about mental health. So he said it was a hard situation in World War II. Yes, it was very hard because we were on the ropes before we turned it around in the very end in 1944. So saying that it was hard is just an understatement. It was very hard. It was ugly. It was nasty. People turning off their lights, people recycling metal, all this other stuff so we can fight off the evils that were going to be ready to take over the world. So yeah, it was hard. Second point, Brexit, climate change, and other stuff that should be taught in your schools. Well, if you want that taught in your schools, go talk to the school district. I don't know what the equivalent is. I'm not English. I'm not from London. I've never been there. I don't know how it works. But if there's something that you feel that needs to be taught in school, I'm pretty sure they have a PTA meeting or some type of school board meeting about, hey, I want this entered as a curriculum. That's on you. That's something you can do. You don't like it? See something? Change it. There's dirt on the ground? Sweep it up. Throw it away. Do something about it. When there was companies out there that was doing bad things like HR when it comes to veterans on how to deal with veterans with PTSD and not helping them understand. I didn't like that. You know what I did? I stepped up and offered free training to help them understand how to deal with veterans and how the veteran employee is different from your regular employee. When I was belittled, singled out, and had was forced to listen to certain things about military bashing in the classroom I did when I was taking a college course, I didn't get mad. I pulled that teacher aside, broke him down, told him, hey, this is what's wrong, this is what's good, and this is where you got messed up, and this is where you singled me out. And then I turned around and went to HR, and guess what I did? I didn't sue, didn't write a complaint. I said, you know what? I think you guys could use some military training about how to deal with veteran students that are going to your college and that are veterans. So not only that college, I also taught a bunch of other colleges. So it wasn't just me saying, oh my God, we need to help veterans. We need to do something about this and go on a TV talk show or go on a show and just bash. I just did something about it. Third point that he wants to make in the beginning part of the video was when he got out, he didn't know how to save up for a mortgage. Well, when I had a newspaper out and I wanted a Super Nintendo, you know what I did? I saved my money, and that's how I got it. You are not going to get a house for free. You got to pay for it. A car that you want, you got to pay for it. So Is that really the school's job or is that the parents? It's an argument. I think it's the parents' job. You need to teach your kids. You need to train them and teach them how to be adults and grow up and being good model citizens, or whatever you want to call it. Be responsible adults. Not take crap, but not give crap when it's not needed. So that's really on the parents. As far as school, I had home ec. I had home ec in my junior high or intermediate school, whatever you want to call it, whatever state you're from. It's either going to be junior high or intermediate. When I was in intermediate, I made a chocolate chip cookie pillow. I learned how to sew, I learned how to cook, I learned how to do all this stuff. We had home ec. We also had life skills about balancing books and checkbooks and all that other stuff when I was in high school. And now I know there's a big push. I got seen so many reports about these new schools that are teaching life skills, but they're doing that. But they're also doing that and teaching about World War II. So when it comes to history, what is the main thing about history? We learn. We learn from our mistakes. We learn from our triumphs. We learn so we don't repeat bad mistakes. So why should we learn about it? Because, it was a big thing in our planet. It's called World War II, meaning the whole world was at war. So that's that I got from the video. I haven't even looked it up. I just saw the video and I'm going right into it. But many people, let's just say millions have passed away. So this is something we need to remember. Not only that, the World War II veterans, whether it's England or our other allies or the US, there's not that many of them. They're slowly passing away. We're going to be down to the very last few on this planet. So it's very important that we get their stories, that we hear their stories, and they pass on their knowledge and their experience to us, to the children, and show how when things got hard, they told the line and stepped up and did something about it. So that's a lesson you can learn from an actual World War II veteran who was there during this hard situation. Let's read this last part of the video. Let it go a little bit. I'm not saying get rid of it totally. Replace it with a subject that will be beneficial to us in the future. We learn from our mistakes. That is history. That's how it works. We learn, we grow. We learn how we can change the world and do things better. We learn how a crazy person named Hitler came into power and how we need to stop evil things like that from happening so we can make a change and make a better place and make a better world. Like I said, home ec. You want to learn about life skills? Introduce home ec and all that other stuff. Go talk to a PTA. There's things to do. There's a way to do it. You can sign a petition. There's many things to do. You want to learn about climate change. You want to learn about Brexit. You want to learn this. You want to learn that. You want to take driver's ed. You want to take sex ed. So it's up to you to do something about it. Not sit on here and like, oh, we need to get rid of World War II, or we need to trim it down, or we need to give it Diet Coke version. Well, okay, you know what? Let's go into the second part of the video.
I don't think it needs to be put in such a young way to young children, like mentally, in their mental health, to be told that this certain amount of people died for you. I think there's a lot of...
You mustn't exaggerate. I mean,
no, I don't think I am exaggerating. I remember learning it as a child.
We can't
thinking, my God, it's so intense.
Children need to know that it's a dangerous world out there.
Of course they need to know, but I don't think...
that crossing the road is sometimes dangerous.
Of course.
They need to know that if they get too fat, there are obesity issues now.
But of course, but mental health is on the rise completely. I don't think encouraging death or telling people how many people died in a world war is going to help someone in the future.
So in the second part, just some real key points. Some of the stuff he said was encouraging death is not going to help them in the future. So who's encouraging death? How do you encourage death? I want you to die. I don't understand that. What part of World War II learning about it is encouraging death? You're encouraging, hey, this is World War II. This is how it happened. Now go die. I don't get that point. I really don't understand it. But what I know is if you're worried about mental health in children, I don't remember in elementary school. I don't remember. I think we touched on it, like I said, in junior high, intermediate. That's when you start learning about other stuff. But it wasn't about the deaths. We talked about how this person came into power, and this was on this side, and this was on that side, and this is how we met in the middle, and this is how we all battled. We didn't sit there and count the totals of numbers and all that. And I think we learned more of that in history class in high school and even in college. That's when you get more in depth about the statistics, numbers, how it really happened, how the battles were won, and this and that. So as far as teaching little kids, I don't see your point there. I don't know how they do it in London. What I'm just purely speaking on is my experience here in the U.S. as a U.S. child student in the public Los Angeles Learning District and Montebello School District, so on and so forth. So at that point, I don't get it. I'm sorry. Children are watching this and their feelings, and it's going to be mental health about all this violence. And I think that's where he was going with it, is that how teaching about death and combat and this and that is going to be bad for mental health, and mental health is on the rise. You could say mental health is on the rise. I do believe that because we're now more open in expressing it. So it may have just always been at the same, but now we're more open to it. Where there's more resources for people with mental health. But let me get this straight. You're worried about children, worrying about World War II. So how many people had Call of Duty World War II? How many? What about Battlefield 5, which is also World War II? How many of them are playing that game? What about Fortnite? How many of these kids are playing Fortnite? It's Grand Theft Auto. There's little kids playing this. You know, I have Grand Theft Auto. I jump on there and there's 5-year-olds on there. So you're telling me that they can't handle a class in World War II about how it started, what happened, this and that. But man, they can play Grand Theft Auto and go sleep with hookers and blow people's head off, and that's totally fine. And now again, people may say that's different. You know, that's a video game. That's on parents. This is something different. This is where they have to go to school. They have to learn things. They have to in their force. Okay, cool. Now, if you don't want your child to learn that, there's curriculums. There we have syllabus at the beginning of the schools to talk about what we're going to talk about. You know, first grade, everybody in first grade has to hit these certain points by the time at the end of the first grade before they go in second grade. Second grade, you got to do this, that, and everything. If you don't like that, then say something. I want to pull my child out. I don't want them part of that. But definitely, we need to know about World War II. Definitely, we need to talk about it. Definitely, there's not that many World War II veterans, so we need to get these people in front of microphones. We need to record their stories. We need to write it down. We need to talk about, there are so many beautiful history about men, women, overcoming things that were set back into them on the battlefield. Women stepping up and fighting for what they believe in. Women spies, you know, men fully loaded to the ground with ammunition and being shot up with bullets, doing air missions and air raids, the Doolittle Project, all this other stuff that's going on. And I'm sorry, I'm just kind of freestyling my thoughts right now, so I do apologize. But what we need to do is pass on this history so we don't repeat what happened. So we learn about people that want to hurt other people. So we learn about the concentration camps. So we learn about, you know, having peace. So we learn about not to repeat any of this stuff. That is why it's important. That is why we learn. That is why we grow. Because if you shut things out, if you trim the fat, if you give the Diet Coke version, you're not getting the full story. And that's what we need to teach about. You need to hear from both sides. Just because you may not agree with this side doesn't mean you shouldn't hear them out. You need to hear both sides. You need to grow. You need to learn. You even know, just walk the line and just say, I'm only cool with this side, but I'm going to turn a blind eye to that side. You need to learn about both sides. It's history. It's how we learn. It's how we grow. It's how we become leaders. It's how we do not repeat what happened. With saying all that, this is probably not the best polished video, but like I said, this is a quick reaction force video, QRF video, and I'm just getting straight to the point. This is how I feel, so on and so forth. Thank you for watching the video. Please like, subscribe, and hit that notification button and get this in front of other vets. And for all you out there, carry on.